I've run a software consultancy for 3 years now. The first year though, I didn't even hit 10 grand a month. I made so many mistakes in the first 2 years of business, and even now I'm still learning a lot. And I realized that I prioritized the wrong things. So this video is about how to prioritize the right things as a small business owner with really few resources, limited time, and limited money. At a very high level, the first thing you need to do is identify the biggest problem in your business. And as a small business, this usually falls into one of 3 categories, which is I don't get enough leads, I can't close enough of my leads, I can't keep my clients for long enough. You want to be able to look at numbers to figure out which one's your biggest constraint. As a small founder, usually you have kind of a pulse on the business and you're able to understand which one is the biggest problem. If you need more clients, is it because you get a lot of lead flow and then you can't close them, right? Is it a sales problem, or is it a marketing problem where you don't even have enough leads coming in the first place? Is it a conversion rate, or is it the absolute number of appointments? Which one's the problem? And then on the back end side, you have some businesses which are able to get lots of clients, but then constantly lose them. And they're constantly in a battle to find new clients and things like that. The first and utmost priority is answering which one of these 3 problems are you trying to solve. At one point, I started realizing that the secrets were in the data, and I started analyzing all kinds of stuff. I will say though, as a small business, you don't need that much data to get started. Which one of these buckets do you fall into? Pick one based on the numbers that you have and what you know about your business as a founder. That's enough to get started. It's an important caveat to add here. Fixing any one of these will increase the size of your business, but increasing the one that is the most behind will increase the size of your business by the most as well. It's pretty easy to figure out which one is the biggest blockade. Now, the next thing is, once you figure out the right one to focus on, you want to focus all of your resources on figuring that one out. I can provide a very simple framework for how I would approach most of these for most small business owners, but if people don't have enough leads, you want to focus on underpriced attention. You want to go to the lead generation sources that have the biggest bang for your buck, because you're probably a small business without loads of money to fire into marketing. And so instead of going and blasting your ads onto billboards, which they work, but they're just more expensive, you want to find the most cost-effective form of getting eyeballs onto your company. Right now, I would say social media is probably a pretty good way of doing that, especially like stuff like LinkedIn. LinkedIn is really powerful for B2B sales. And also, I think relationships are extraordinarily cost-effective as a whole because they don't require loads of upfront investment. And also, one of the key things I would say about relationships is they let you get feedback from your customers about why they want or don't want the thing that you're selling. For the second problem of, you have lots of leads, but you can't close enough sales, this might be a product fit problem. So this might be that you're not serving them properly or getting the wrong leads. There's all kinds of different problems that you might be having. I would say doing some kind of sales training might help out and things like that, but also generally just asking clients why they don't want to buy, why they don't close with you is a really great way to figure this one out. Ask what is the main reason that they're walking away. It might be from a price thing because it's not worth enough to that particular type of customer. So it's important you find the right type of customer. But once you start serving the right customer, the sales will go a lot easier, but you still need some level of sales training. Now, generally, I think if you have enough lead flow, that covers the sales issue. So I don't think that's typically the biggest bottleneck for business. And then the last issue is obviously basically fulfillment. So if you're not able to keep your clients, if they keep churning, there's usually 2 main things to do about it, which is make your client really, really happy by doing a great job. So you actually have to make your service better. And the way that you do that is essentially on a very practical level is by paying more attention to the details. When a client is unhappy with things, I know this because I've had clients leave me for it. I've kept clients because I learned to do it better. I've hired agencies and I've fired agencies because they didn't do it right. The way to deliver above their standards is just pay more attention to the details than they do. It's really not that hard. What it means to have higher standards is to pay more attention to the small little details. To give you like a really practical example, a lot of restaurants don't think about things like maybe their bathrooms. It's in the back, it's not as important, whatever. Those are the little details where the top-notch restaurants still pay the most attention. And so if you want to deliver above standards, just make sure you pay more attention to those details than they do. The second part of that is basically communicating more. So reducing uncertainty throughout the service, communicating frequently, and providing as much documentation as you can. It really helps your client have more peace of mind. And that peace of mind contributes to a way better overall client experience. And so they're more likely to stay with you, give you referrals, etc. The times that I didn't grow, it was almost always because I focused my time on the wrong things. You will notice none of these things are just the fulfillment itself. As a small company, it's really easy to get tied up in fulfillment work. And I know this because I was in this hole all the time where I was fulfilling for clients. You have to force time to work on the business issues themselves and figuring out which one of those is the priority. If the biggest priority is just keeping clients for longer, sure, maybe you have to do more fulfillment work. But as soon as you start figuring that one out and more money comes in and the business unlocks and it grows a little bit, you have to get that off of your plate so that you can focus on the next biggest constraint. And while you are stuck in fulfillment, you will be handicapped as to how much work you can put into the real business constraint that's stopping you from growing as much as you want. When you get this right, business grows really, really fast. I have seen and felt this firsthand, and I have seen and witnessed this in other people around me as well. It's really not that far away. The outcome that you're looking for is not that far. You just have to figure out the right constraint. I have this thing that I kind of keep in mind all the time, which is I think figuring out the right constraint, everything changes in 6 to 12 months. You're always around the corner. You're always only 6 to 12 months away from hitting the right thing and then figuring things out. Now, it's not to say that in 6 to 12 months you will absolutely have things figured out. It's if you do the right inputs. You're never that far away. It's always right around the corner. You just have to figure out what are the right inputs that you need to be putting in. And once those match with the output that you want, things will start going your way. I'll add a last little caveat here and say one of the most important things that people miss is just the amount of volume. If your constraint is marketing and getting leads, you need to do more than 1 hour a week on it or 1 hour a day. It needs to be the utmost priority. It needs to be the thing that you spend your whole working day on. That is your job. And if you need to do fulfillment as well because you're too small of a company, well, guess what? Then you got to suck it up and do fulfillment as well. And maybe you overwork yourself a little bit. If you just do the fulfillment and you don't put in the time to solve the business work and you just take care of the service, your business will grow at a very slow pace. Your business will just passively grow through word of mouth and maybe a little bit of referral, but you will not be able to control that rate of growth as much as you do if you can force and jam the marketing into the business. I got a lot of this wrong. I tried so many different marketing methods and things like that, and I just spent time on the wrong things. And I will say there's another whole part of this, which is like solving each one of those constraints in and of itself is a whole challenge. There's all kinds of different problems you might have. You might be selling the wrong product, the wrong service, or you might be marketing the wrong way or changing the marketing methods too many times. But fundamentally, if you are clear about which problem you're solving and you just focus on that problem, eventually you'll figure it out. If you know that all you need is more leads, that's the only thing that you think about 24/7, you can make plenty of mistakes, but at least you're focused on the right thing, and that will make you massive, massive progress. And I didn't focus on the right thing like for the longest amount of time. And so I am trying to save people pain here. I really am, because I really wish that I could jam this through my thick skull, 2.5, 3 years ago. But anyway, here we are. Eventually I figured some things out. But I think this was one of the biggest lessons that I took from the first 1.5 years, 2 years. I record on a daily basis, so comment if you have any questions.